Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hope you all are doing good. Do subscribe, like and follow the channel. The topic that we're going to discuss today is from software design artifacts. The domain model. We are going to discuss domain models today. In this lecture, we will discuss what they are, how to make them, and their important components. Domain model. Let's see a brief description of the models. So, domain models are defined as the model that contain the conceptual concepts in a problem domain along with their attributes and associations that are considered as a crucial component of the problem at hand. Still, domain models are not exactly based on the real life softwares. They just present an abstract view of the software at a very basic level. Although the class diagrams show a real-life software-based design, but we will be discussing the class diagrams in our next lecture, so stay tuned. But for now, let's focus on the domain models only. So, A concept is defined as the idea, noun, or anything in the problem domain that has certain intention, or that represents a complete entity or a distinct role in a problem domain. Concept is a central distinction between object-oriented and structured analysis. So, to elaborate, in object-oriented, we do the division by the concepts, or in other words, by objects. But in structured analysis, we do the division by the functions. Let's keep that in mind that it is always better and recommended to overspecify a domain model with lots of fine-grained concepts other than to underspecify it or overlook the concepts, which is not at all recommended. Here we have a concept of sale with its attributes such as date and time. This particular symbol is used in domain model to represent a particular concept. Like we have discussed before, a concept have an intention. So here the intention of the concept of the sale is to represent an event in which a purchase has been occurred. Similarly, the extension of the event will be the multiple events of the purchase that have been occurred. Each purchase event instantiate an instance of the sale concept. Domain model. Let's see some key points of the domain model. A domain model is widely used as a source of inspiration for designing software objects and is also required as input to several subsequent artifacts of the software design. A domain model illustrates meaningful conceptual classes in a problem domain. It is the most important artifact to create during the object-oriented analysis. The identification of the conceptual classes is also part of an investigation of the problem domain. The UML notations in the form of class diagram to illustrate the domain models. The essential object-oriented steps in analysis or investigation is the decomposition of a domain of interest into individual conceptual classes or objects. Our domain model also gives us visual representation of the conceptual classes or objects in our domain of interest. Domain models have also been called conceptual models, domain object models, or analysis object models. So, short and short, domain model is one of the artifacts that may be created in the business modeling discipline. Unified Modeling Language, aka UML, provides a notation to demonstrate a domain model. These notations are similar as the notations used to make a class diagram, which we will be discussing in our next lecture. However, in domain model, we do not use any operation notations because domain model consists only of the objects or conceptual classes, the association between those conceptual classes, and their attributes. Let's see an example. So a domain model, as shown in this particular figure, is a visualization of things in the real world domain of interest, not of software component objects with responsibilities because they have no operation. So this particular concept is of domain model and this particular concept is of classes, not of domain model because domain models does not contain the operations. So this particular figure that is representing a concept with responsibilities, it does not belong to the scope of the domain model. Rather, the responsibilities are a part of the class diagram. So this concept belongs to the class diagram rather than from the domain model. And this particular concept, because it does not contain any operation or responsibilities, belongs to the domain model. Therefore, the methods representing functionality or detailed behaviors are not suitable for a domain model. Conceptual class identification. So the question raises how we can actually identify a conceptual class from a problem description. So we can identify classes from a problem description easily. The only task we need to do in order to identify them is enlist all the nouns, objects, places, roles, organizations, documents mentioned in the problem statement. These all will become our concepts. The next step is easy. We just need to decide their attributes and their associations to each other. How to make a domain model? So there is no strict guidelines to follow in order to make a good domain model. However, we can have a sequence of actions to establish a good domain model. Let's see the sequence. The very first step that we are going to do is list all the conceptual candidate classes by identifying all those entities or concepts from our problem description that have attributes associated to them. Second, draw all of those in the domain model. Our domain model is kind of a map of concepts or things in the domain. Then add the necessary associations between them to record their relationships. At the end, add their attributes and you will have a complete domain model. Specification or description of the concept. So every concept have its specifications, or in other words, certain attributes that are associated with it. For example, an instance of a concept of sale will have certain attributes like date and time, or maybe as serial number, price, description, manufacturer, etc. So whenever a certain item is sold in physical world, its instance is deleted from the software. Here, the question rises, should we have a single concept of item which contains the specification, or should we have two different concepts, one for the item and one for its specification? So in this first design, each and every item in the same product line will have its own serial number as well as its specifications such as the description, the price and the UPC and etc. Let's assume that we have an item as hairbrush. So meaning all the hairbrushes available in a store have their own unique serial number ID, which makes sense. Their description, their price and UPC. The serial number makes sense, but however, the description, the price, and the UPC of all the hairbrushes are repetitive data. So let's see a second possible design. So in this second possible design, all the items in the same product line will have a different or unique serial number, but same specification or as description, price, and UPC, which means no repetition at all. So we can safely say that it's bad to have a single concept or present both items and its specification in a single concept, and it's good to have two different concepts to present an item and its specification. Here is another example of the similar problem encountered in airline reservation system. So here multiple flights are flying to the same destination. All the flights have the same time, date and are going to the same destination. So the total number of those flights is stored in the number attribute right here. In the first design right here, the number attribute will have repetition. However, in the second design, if you can look closely, we have a complete separate concept that is handling the number of flights that have the same destination, date and time. Hence, we are omitting the repetition of the data. So in other words, in this example, as well as the first design is not good and the second design is considered to be good design and recommended because it is avoiding the data repetition. Resolving similar concepts. Sometimes we have multiple concepts that are similar in nature and responsibilities. The only difference is in their names. For example, in this particular example, we have two concepts as post and register. Both of the concepts have different names, but both of the concepts have the same nature or the same attributes. In this scenario, we select the name that is the best explains the nature of the concept. So it's up to you whether you select the post or the register. Concepts versus the attributes. Sometimes designer could not decide whether to make a particular entity a concept or an attribute. For example, in this particular example, the destination could be an attribute of the flight concept, right, like this, or it could be a whole different concept with its own attributes such as the airport name, the location, and etc. The rule of thumb is very simple in this scenario. If something cannot be translated into having attributes, then make it an attribute. But if you can think of multiple attributes for a single concept, then it's a concept. So all in all, if you're still in doubt whether to make a particular entity a concept or an attribute, the recommended strategy is to make it a separate concept. So just to summarize this particular problem, the very first step that you need to do is, by given an entity, if you can think of attributes that are associated with that entity, then make it a concept. But if you cannot think of multiple attributes associated to that particular entity, then make it an attribute. All in all, if you are still in doubt, always make them a separate concept. Association. Association is a relationship between concepts that indicate some meaningful and interesting connection. So we name the associations. For example, employees. Airline employees person. Word phrase creates a sequence that is readable and meaningful. Word phrases such as employees assigned to, supervisors assigned to, should have default directions, that is from left to right or from top to bottom. But if you are going against the default direction, then you must add a readability arrow. So for example, a plane assigned to flight. So here we have added a direction arrow. So this particular association will be read as plane assigned to flight, and this particular association will be read as person assigned to flight by default. Multiplicity. Multiplicity between two concepts represent the number of instances that are associated from one concept to another. In this particular figure, one store can have many items, and similarly many items can be in the one store. So we have different multiplicities, for example, zero or many by hysteric, 1 to star, 1 or more, 1 to 40 means 1 or 40 instances, 5 means exactly 5 instances, 358 means exactly 3, 5 or 8 instances. Following are some common association types that are used in the domain model with examples. So for example, A is a physical part of B, which means, for example, a wing is actually a part of the airplane. So if you have a wing class and an airplane class, then the association between them will be wing part of airplane or wing is physical part of airplane or something like this. Similarly, here we have A is logically contained in B. That means item description or catalog. So catalog actually contain the description of all the items. So that's how we actually define different associations in our domain model. I have enlisted a bunch of those associations. So let's see. For example, these A is member of B. So for example, cashier is a member of the store. So if you have two classes like cashier and the store, then that's clear the association between them will be of member of association. Similarly, A uses or manages B means a pilot manages or flies a airplane or so on, right? Then again, some more examples. So A is a transaction related to another transaction B. So that means a payment is a transaction, but a sale is also a transaction. But payment is a transaction that is part or related to the transaction sale. So if you have two classes, one payment and the other one is of sale, then the relationship between them will be a transaction in relation to the transaction. Attributes. It is useful to identify those attributes of conceptual classes that are needed to satisfy the information requirements. For example, an item needs to have its serial number. An attribute is a logical data value of an object. So for example, sale needs a date time attribute. It has to be there to maintain the log. A store needs a name and address. A cashier needs to have an ID. Here are different notations used for different type of attributes in the domain model. So for example, if it's a private attribute, we just put a minus sign. But if it's a derived attribute, then we put a minus and a hyphen sign, derived attribute. For public visibility, read-only attributes with initialization. So plus represents the public visibility. Real is equals to 3.14. This is the default value of the real by attribute. And this read-only instance represents that the attribute was read-only, which means we cannot change the value of the pi in our code anywhere. Similarly, middle name will have 0 to 1, which means a middle name could either be empty or middle name will contain a single one name. Hope this lecture has helped you to understand the UML domain model. If you have any queries or topic requests, please feel free to comment them below. Our next lecture will be on class diagrams. Do subscribe, like and follow to get more interesting lectures. Allah Hafiz.